you're looking at one of the most anticipated trucks in a long time. Something that has yet more hype on the internet than anything else. If you are a truck person, you are gonna absolutely be getting tight in the pants over this. If you're not, well, there's plenty of things to know about it and other things to get excited about as well. Let's take a look. Now, before I go any further, this is the third Ford performance vehicle we've featured on this channel, and all of them have been supplied by Tri Industries. It's a local business to me, a non-for-profit company that's mission is to employ people with severe disabilities and disabled veterans. Tri Industries is using vehicles, really cool, interesting vehicles, to help generate revenue, to raise money to keep the lights on. Because certain non-for-profits don't have the flexibility like certain corporations do, where they can go sell men's and women's underwear that are autographed for high profits. No, this is creativity. They are car people, and we make videos about cars, and I'm happy to help support their cause. And I hope that if you're interested in this truck, you can donate to win it. At the end of the video, I will put a link and how you can do all that. But let's get into the nitty-gritty. Now take a look at what's behind me. It's massive. It's the holy grail of half-ton performance trucks. The 2017 Ford Raptor, much like the 2018, is all about one thing: rigidity, suspension design, durability. And that's exactly what Ford is trying to do with this truck overall. For somebody that wants to take this and run in dunes, run in gravel, jump it off cliffs, whatever you want to do, that's what it's for. The front quadrant of the Raptor is very menacing. Now, I'm by no means a small man. At 5'9" and a stealthy 150 pounds, I feel like an absolute chump standing next to this. And that is because it is so bulbous. It is wider than the regular F-150. It is longer. And all the sheet metal has been resculpted here for this. And a lot of it has to do with purpose and design. Heat ventilation in the hood. You have a bumper that is extremely small, easy to replace, and you have a true skid plate underneath with a 30-degree approach angle that's going to allow you to get into any drive-through, drive over any curbing so you can skip to the front of the line. I mean, this thing is really beastly on the front. Now, this specific Raptor comes equipped with forged aluminum wheels that are also bead sealed with these true one-off design BF Goodrich tires that they co-developed with Ford Performance so you could do all the Baja stuff that you've ever dreamed of. As you move along to the side of it, you don't have automatically lowering running boards here. This is an option, you can take them off, but they are aluminum, they are anti-slip coated, and I'm telling you right now, unlike the King Tut I tested, if you go running at this full speed, you will literally split your legs in half if you run into this too hard. It is like a samurai sword into your shins, so you have to be aware of that. Oh, when you get to the back, you're gonna notice something. The new owner is going to get this. The Ford applique. This stick-on panel matches the way that the front end of the vehicle looks, and you have to pay extra for this, by the way, but it kind of rounds out the whole design of this truck completely. Now let's take a look at the lift gate and the tough bed. Now you might be wondering what a tough bed is. Well, that's Ford's spray and bed liner, which is an absolute must when you get a truck like this, specifically the F-150. Why? Well, the Raptor is still an all aluminum body truck, and the frame is steel, so don't worry about that. We're gonna talk about the details of that in the shop, but when you have kind of an aluminum bed or any type of metal, the bed liner is gonna save your ass. Instead of scraping up the metal, you're gonna scrape up this coating, and it has great anti-slip properties, all of that. Now, you also get this hard cargo cover or bed cover. You can get a soft or a hard option. This one has the hard option, and it makes it more of an all-weather truck. It's nice. You don't have to worry about getting, you know, if you're living out of here, you don't get your mattress wet or whatever. This also has the bed extender accessory that you pull out and it protects all that. I'm not going to get it loose because I'll never get it back in. But let's talk about one of my favorite features of this bed, and you already know it's coming. That's right. Whether you're a male or a female dancer, Ford has you covered here, and this is one of the most obscenely functional and practical options you could get on a truck. That's right, it has a dance pole, and I did a pole dance on this on the King Tut video, which I will not do now because I tore my ACL petting cats at the zoo, and just know that it will help you to get in, or you can dance, do whatever the hell you want to do, and then just stick it right back in when you're done. That's all you have to do. Thank God for running boards. When you get on the inside of the Ford Raptor, this is fully loaded. At 70 grand, it sure as hell better be. You have carbon fiber accents. Why? Well, why not, really? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this truck, but it is a nice... It breaks up some of the black plastics with some shiny bits. That's not piano gloss plastic. You have a massively thick and just girthy steering wheel with a piece of red leather on center, just in case you don't know where center is. And on a truck like this, you might wonder, well, isn't that kind of cheesy? Well, you know, if you're crossed over, which you most likely are on this car or truck, I'm sorry, in extreme conditions, you kind of want to know where your returning to center is. It helps you to position your hands. There's little details like that inside the Raptor that make sense. Now, there's a whole bunch of different toggle switches that can be changed and modified to whatever the hell you want. All the physical controls and knobs and switches are kind of rugged without being overly, like, you know, gigantic like we saw on the Toyota Tundra. You know, door handles are still reasonably sized. The shifter is pretty big, honestly, with this carbon fiber on it. But all the controls are intuitive for the most part. Now, for something that's supposed to be this hardcore off-road truck, even if you're a chud, there are plenty of adjustability. There's just a ton of adjustment range in these seats. They are so comfortable. You can get up, down, left, and right. You can move around easily. It's just a really comfortable place to be because, let's face it, you're probably going to use this for street duty most of the time, and a lot of what carries over in the upper trim level F-150s is here. Seating surfaces are all leather, which, you know, is a plus or a minus if you're going to be cleaning it up. Armrest is monstrous, including the storage space in between. Again, this is a lot of carryover from the F-150, so if you're interested in that and finding out the little details, check out our King Tut video. Now, you're going to wonder about all the gadgets, all the electronics, and honestly, I could probably do a half-hour video about all of that. It has downhill descent. It has auto start stop. It has a 360 camera. It has a trailer assist mode with sensors. It has a manual toggle or rotary knob for your all-wheel and four-wheel drive settings. And then it gets to the center display cluster where you can just kind of see what's going on with the truck, with yaw rates, with the downhill descent, with the assistances. And you know what? The one thing about this truck is it has such a high level of capability, mainly because of all the electronic control systems they've implemented here. All the computerization is why this car has such a high level of performance, along with some of the mechanical modifications made to it. Now, here's the thing. You know, honestly, if you're somebody that just wants a straightforward, no bullshit truck, this is not it. Because this is not something you're going to go, oh, I broke my drive shaft off, and you're troubleshooting all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive problems with it. It's not something you're just going to get under and take something off and put it back on. This is a high level of sophistication for a truck. And I think if you're, again, if you're a simplistic, I want a basic truck, this is going to totally turn you off because of it. Now, if you're somebody that is buying this because you like all the electronics, you like all the driver's aids, you like this level of vehicle, let's talk about something that's important to this truck. And now Ford's been doing this with their other vehicles as well, and that is drive modes. And of course, other manufacturers are doing this. But I can tell you right now, Ford Performance, they had seminars with the press where they gave out essentially a PowerPoint presentation to explain all the different drive modes and all the parameters that it changes, and it is ridiculous, and I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm going to put the graphic up here so you can see it. You have Baja mode, which is kind of what you want for what this truck's designed for. Four-wheel drive high, it uses the transfer case system to switch between four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive mode. It gives you traction control off, trans in the most aggressive mode. It's kind of what you would use if you're really driving this. And then of course you have rock crawl and hill descent and all that, where you go into four-wheel low. So these drive management systems are intelligently trying to put you in the right condition without you having to manually select the four-wheel high, four-wheel low, two-wheel high. It does everything for you here. Now let's take a look at this masterpiece in the shop with Turbowski and see what Ford Performance has done for the average and truck enthusiast.
Listen to that thumb.
I know, that's real deal.
Changing some SPLs right there.
Yep. So let's give people the scoop about the Raptor, okay?
You're gonna have to give me the scoop because all I see is some big shocks.
This thing is, on the surface, if you're not a truck person, you're not into this, it's gonna be like, okay, it looks like a monster truck with a bunch of body kits on it.
Tonka truck.
Yeah, and that's not the case. All right, Scott, from the regular F-150, and I had to go over our footage from the King Tut we looked at, the frame is modified. It is it's thicker. It's reinforced, obviously, because the whole goal here was people that had taken the previous Raptor off-roading or Baja or whatever you want to call it, dune jumping, the frames would bend on them. So they wanted to make sure that they avoided it this generation. So the frame rigidity is much higher. There's structural reinforcements and bracing here, which is different than the standard F-150. The whole lower subframe, the control arms, all of that have been modified. You have aluminum hub, aluminum carrier, and of course these Fox Racing dampers have 3-inch diameter compared to 2.5-inch from the previous Raptor. They are much more rigid and designed, obviously, for off-roading. They are 9-stage, which means it has multiple levels of damping that can control massive wheel travel, massive bumps. So you could literally take this thing, 4 feet in the air on a jump and land, and it will handle the load without deflecting or bending pistons, all that. So this whole front end and rear end is designed for one thing, and that is just durability and rigidity. There is so much to talk about on the front of this truck, Scott, that I can't even contain myself. But before we go to the back, the front does feature a reinforced skid plate. It is heavy duty. It's designed to jump off a 20-story building when you're in the middle of a high-speed car chase because somebody took your Jamba Juice. You can bottom that out and it's not going to deflect like some of these Nerf trucks and CUVs. The second part of the front end is it has a 30-degree approach angle, so it's legitimate. Now, because of the size and the width and the wheelbase of this monster, that's partly why when I said, it's an off-road vehicle, but it's not really a trail vehicle. You're in tight spaces, it's too big to navigate. And that's one thing that I want to show you right now is I had this truck, not the fundraiser truck, but a press truck on an off-road course, kind of rock crawling, various conditions. And most of the stuff that involved mud and traditional off-roading stuff, it was amazing at. It was just a non-issue, especially with these tires. But as soon as you got into a rock crawling environment where you're kind of uphill, narrow confines, that's where you could tell this is not designed for it. Namely, these aluminum running boards. As you can see, some of these paths, downhill's no issue. The downhill ascent control, the all-wheel drive / four-wheel drive system is amazing at controlling power and traction. But as soon as I got it on an uphill, got it up there like, oh, great job.
Stand, Great driving. Ooh, it's all right.
Until then.
It's because it slid and it just touched on the bounce.
All right.
Literally.
Oh, just okay.
Carry on.
It's all right.
Sorry for the interruption. We're on.
Carry on. Oh. Ooh.
Is that frame or is it?
No, it's the running board.
Next thing you know, I'm stuck on the running board. It slid on a rock, and I'm stuck on the running board, and I asked the Ford rep I was with, well, can you take them off? He's like, not really. Are the running boards removable on this car easily, or is it
Not easily.
No.
Why not? It's freaking 6 bolt nuts and bolts.
And that's what I asked him. I'm like, why would you have running boards on this on an off-road truck? And he's like, well, it's just part of the design language is what he told me. So when you look at this, it's obvious that, yeah, it's 6 bolts. And if you're going off-roading on this, you take them off. Even though they are reinforced aluminum, just take them off because you're going to drag them and just destroy them. And I don't know how much they cost, but they can't be cheap. One of the most innovative features of the Raptor, Scott, something that you're likely going to see on competing manufacturers copying this or them trickling it down to other F-150s, is the fact that this has an all-wheel drive system, an on-demand all-wheel drive system, and four-wheel drive. And one of the reasons why they did both is for performance. You don't get binding in four-wheel drive mode like you would in a traditional just four-wheel drive
It's
truck.
more fun to have it hop when you go around corners.
Yeah, but it can't hold up to the rigors of the type of off-road and extreme driving, and you can damage a system if you're going nuts with it when it's binding up. The other thing is controlling the difference in wheel speed. Obviously, as you're turning, you have all those issues. So what they did is employed clutches, basically what you see in an on-demand all-wheel drive system. So they're able to turn it into an on-demand system and a four-wheel drive based on the conditions. So when you're in auto, it will switch intelligently between, well, how do I need to transfer the power? And the front also has an optional torsion limited slip. So the front on this has a
Fancy.
Yeah, front limited slip. There are temperature sensors to monitor certain aspects of the differential to make sure that it's not overheating. And that's why this thing is kind of badass for what it is. If you're using it for what it is, it will really hold up to all of that. And I think that's why most people are going to be really impressed with this, is its ability to do all that. So now that I'm done rambling on about the transfer case modes and how it can select between four-wheel and all-wheel drive, we come to the back. And this is where things start to look a little bit more normal, more truck-like, but at the same time, there are some additional things to know. Now, suspension travel in the front is about 13 inches. In the back, it's 13.9 total travel for this. And that's 3 or 4 inches more than the regular F-150. So there's a ton of that, and a lot of it has to do, again, with these dampers. In the back, you can see they have external canisters. The front don't, because it doesn't need as much travel, it doesn't need as much stroke. For the back, they did piggyback these canisters, so they have more oil for more travel in the back because the rear does move a lot more. The second thing to talk about is the braking system. You have almost 14-inch rotors on the front and the back. It's about 13.5, 13.7, something like that, front and rear. So the brakes are up to the task. For the most part, it's just the tires. And these tires are specifically designed for this car. The BF Goodrich tires are a serious off-road tire that, you know, really is designed for Baja, that type of stuff. Sand, dunes, gravel.
Slinging dirt.
Slinging mud. These are not good street tires, despite them being pretty quiet. There's not a lot of
Just
road
wait.
noise. Well, yeah, until you start to wear them down. But they're surprisingly quiet, but this is not... It's like driving a sports car with some extreme summer tire that's almost .R compound on the road. It's just pointless. This is going to be like this. If you're planning to street drive it, you need to reassess that situation, but you have them if you need it. This car has this option has forged aluminum wheels.
It's not a car.
Truck has forged aluminum wheels. This again is what you'd want if you are banging this thing up. They are much more rigid, less likely to deflect than cast aluminum wheels. And I think the last thing to note is somebody's like, well, can you still use it as a truck? And the thing is, yes, this is an all aluminum bodied car or truck. I keep saying that. It's an all aluminum bodied truck, but it has a steel frame. So yes, you can tow with it. But they're two different cab configurations. The smaller cab has less towing capacity at about 5,000 pounds. And the extended cab, this one, it has 6,800 pounds of towing capacity. So you can tow with this, not as much as a regular F-150, and that is a lot because of this. these dampers, the springs, the suspension is set up not to take that type of towing load. It's more set up for wheel travel. You try to pull a large amount, it's not valved and set up for that at all, but you still can tow, and I think most people will tow 5,000-6,000 pounds, no problem. That's probably average, and a number they probably chased as well when they set up all this. Scott.
We should have taken the front tires off this thing and let it down so we could see what's going on under there.
I know. It's way too tall. I feel like I need a ladder. But there are some things to talk about under the hood of this F-150 Raptor. It's got a 3.5 liter EcoBoost.
Should have a 5.0 liter EcoBoost.
Before we get into that, this is a twin turbo, much like we saw on the King Tut. The only thing is, it's not the same motor that's in the King Tut or any of the F-150s with the same 3.5 EcoBoost. That is because this is Ford's new attempt at trying to correct some of the issues they had before with them. And now they have added direct injection and port injection. Sounds like somebody's learning something from Toyota here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I'm going to get dragged behind the back of this truck for saying that. But we talked about their issues originally with their EcoBoost motors, where dealerships were being instructed to replace
the cylinder head.
Right, yeah.
And don't clean it. That's not the proper method.
Yeah. So they're trying to figure out how to improve this. And I got to hand it to them. This is the way to do it. Yes, it adds more complication in terms of fueling, more fuel injectors, all of that. But this is going to virtually eliminate any issues they're going to have with carbon buildup. So you don't have to worry about that. There's more strategy they can do with cooling, with having direct injection and port injection. They can start the car in port injection only for emissions and emissions heat up cycle, and then flip on direct injection after all that's done. So there's a whole bunch of things in terms of emission strategies, cooling strategies that they can do with having port and direct injection. And from a performance perspective, that's one of the reasons why it's making a lot more power and torque than the other 3.5 liter. Now, here's the thing with this motor, and they're going to give you the breakdown of why it's better than the old V8 that was in the previous Raptor. And on paper, here's the way it really is. Above 2,500 RPMs, this annihilates the V8 that was in the previous Raptor. It makes more power and it makes more torque all the way to the red line. Under 2,500 RPMs, the V8 was vastly superior.
Yeah, it's just by design.
Right. So in terms of cooling, this has oil jet piston cooling, or piston cooling through oil jets. It keeps it cool that way. The cooling system is heavy duty. It's got a thicker radiator, dual 700 watt fans, and then it has specific cooling for air intake charge, which we can't see from here, but I'm going to believe them that they have it. And you know, it's just a lot of effort at keeping temperature under control for oil, engine, cooling. It's maximized for that. And if somebody's going to utilize this, well, you have all of it. If not, if you're just putting it around the street, well, it's absolutely overkill. So the second part of that is, I don't care who you are, the sound is a part of a truck like this. And this thing does not sound cool at all. It does not sound tough. You know, I joked around with Tom about the police interceptor, the old Grand Marquis or whatever the hell it is, Crown Vic. It has a V8 that makes like 100 horsepower, really. It just is so slow, but it sounds so cool that it's part of the experience. This loses the V8 sound.
Does it have sound generation inside?
It does have sound generator, and it sucks. I don't know, you might be somebody that likes it. To me, the truck has to sound good, and it just doesn't. So, I mean, it's going to be up to you. Does the power and torque from the new 3.5 liter make up for the sound? You know, does that beat the V8?
I think on a truck, on something like this, it wouldn't be as big of a deal as it would if it was a Mustang. It's bad enough it's a girl's car as it is, but at least make it sound like a man's car. Hate mail.
Now let's be fair, most of the time people are gonna drive the Raptor on the street. So it's nice, the mode select when you switch modes, like I'm gonna switch to sport, takes about 2 seconds for the all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive system to change. Go into manual mode, drop a gear. Let's take a look at how this thing holds revs, will not auto upshift, even in manual mode. You have to really prepare yourself with the brakes on this because of the tire. It's designed to have a lot of compliance in it for off-road use, so it gets spongy. Braking confidence is not the best on the street. But overall, I think it gives you this, I'm gonna say this a couple times, this truck has this level of command over the road that a lot of vehicles don't. It's big, it's brawny, the steering feels pretty good for a truck, and that has a lot to do with because of how they've designed the all-wheel drive system. You have a torsion limited slip in the front. So as a street truck, this is about as good as you can possibly get with what's currently on the market. Now what's interesting about the Raptor is if you pull the right paddle, even when you're not in manual mode, it will tell you the gear selector. It'll show you what the ECU is doing in terms of gear selection, which oftentimes like that, it will jump a gear. It'll jump a couple gears immediately. It's not sequentially choosing a couple gears, fifth, fourth. It will jump from fifth to third, or from third to sixth, depending on the situation. And that's interesting for a transmission of this type. Well, let's come to a stop here and check out acceleration, because everybody talks about how this is just kind of a brute of a truck. One of the fastest trucks out there. Gonna be in automatic mode, sport mode, traction off. You know, I gotta be totally honest, there's a lot of reviews out there that say, wow, this is so fast, and it might be fast for a truck, but it's certainly not gonna blow you away. Part of it is because, well, it doesn't sound all that exciting. It doesn't have that V8 rumble. It just sounds like every other V6 that's out there. To me, it's about on par, if not a little bit slower than the Subaru WRX I just drove. And you know what, for a truck, this is great. But if you're coming from a previous Raptor with a V8, you might be a little bit disappointed despite all the horsepower talk and the numbers of how much quicker this is. You definitely have to be mindful of the body roll and the way that the body moves around on this. It's extremely well controlled, all the body movements, but there's so much travel in the suspension that driving it in an aggressive manner is really, you're doing more work than what you need to, just because of the way this is set up. This is not a sports truck, it's an off-roadish truck. So I think in terms of performance on the street, yeah, it's got enough power to keep you somewhat entertained. The automatic transmission in manual mode is pretty responsive. I like the fact that it holds gears. I like the logic, and it seems like Ford did a really good job with the programming of this. You can leave it in automatic mode for pretty much all the systems, and it just works really, really well. Now let's talk about some of the intangibles, because, you know, this may not be the fastest thing on earth. It doesn't have the V8 rumble, so what does it have? It has a street presence. Just take a look at this thing on the road. I think that's the main thing. If you're a truck person, this has every single thing you associate with a badass truck. It's got a wide stance, it has function, it has purpose, it has engineering to make sure that it will last and you can beat the hell out of it. It's the equivalent for a sports car person of a Porsche, really. This is the truck equivalent of that. It is kind of, there's some fluff in it, of course. You have to spice it up. It has to have a personality. But when you really look at this, it does demand attention. It commands people's attention when it's on the road. And that is what a lot of these trucks are about, and why I can totally understand it from the other side. while you may not be a person that connects with this, this is one of the best efforts at making a hardcore kind of performance truck for the road and for, well, off-road-ish, depending on what type of off-road you mean. But for like Baja, dune jumping and stuff like that, this thing is just incredible. But let's talk about some of its road manners aside from performance. Now on regular pavement, regular roads, this thing rides extremely well. It's just, you know, if you're somebody that's used to big trucks, like Super Duty, you know, you're out of the half-ton segment, and we talk about, well, the half-ton's kind of a truckish ride, and now that's started to change, especially with the new F-150. You get into the F-150 and you get into these mid-sized trucks, and they ride really good. It's not like it used to be. This rides just as good as the regular F-150 does, if not better. And that surprised me because I expected this to be a mess, I'll be honest. Usually when you start to go to the extreme measures with damping and all the other technology in terms of firmness and stiffness that this chassis has been given, I expected kind of like the Focus RS of Ford Performance in the truck segment. That's not what it's like. You could live with this every day. It rides well. It is a little bit mushy, but it's to be expected with all the wheel travel. It handles pretty much every pavement type extremely well. The big ruts, big bumps is just a non-issue. Smooth pavement, even with these tires, is surprisingly good. But the only area I feel like these dampers struggle is the micro fractures in pavement, small imperfection. You start to get a little bit of the springiness, the typical springiness that you get with a truck platform. I mean, the body on frame, you're gonna have leaf springs in the back. It's just never gonna be like a car or a truck with independent or independent suspension in general. You're gonna have those trade-offs, but overall, you have almost no penalty for driving this on the street every day. Final thoughts. The current generation F-150 is pretty much my favorite truck platform, and one of the reasons why is because Ford has put a big investment in aluminum body structure that not only saves weight, it makes it more fuel efficient, increases performance, and you don't have to over-engineer every single part because you're dealing with so much mass. So that they're able to reduce weight all over the place because of that. Now, the reason they've been able to do that is they literally sell 1 million of these a year. They're a total cash cow. So in terms of the Raptor, all of that good stuff carries over right here and more. They can afford to tinker with this, to dump money into it that some other manufacturers really can't afford to take to this level. And you see it all over. Underneath the electronic systems, the all-wheel drive system, just the quality of the underneath, the engineering behind it. Now, whether you're a truck person or not, you know, that really doesn't matter. If you are into this, if you're a truck person, this is kind of the pinnacle right now. Nobody's doing it as well as Ford is with this. Now, I keep saying this over and over again, you know, do you really need it? Do you really need to spend this much money? And if you're gonna use this 100%, I would say, I would just go in my backyard and do some jumps just for the hell of it. But I think, you know, this is an interesting introduction to a next generation of vehicles, and I'll be curious to see what other manufacturers do to respond to it.
Hi, my name is Doug Reed. I'm with Tri Industries. We'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you for supporting our sweepstakes. All the proceeds of the sweepstakes will help us provide employment for those with disabilities. Again, thank you.